I am hoping that this works the way I think it's going to. It might be a little bumpy in the beginning, just because I've already got my stand set up so I can kind of be hands-free to show you guys the um, the flip through. So it's all set up, but I've got to stick my phone underneath it. So if it's a little bit bumpy or a little bit shaky at the beginning whenever I'm getting my phone set, I'm sorry. But I think this is going to be the easiest and the best way to get this done. So if you are new here, my name is Kristen. And this is my cathedral garden. I am a former elementary teacher who is now a homeschool mom to 4 kids, and I'm going to show you a flip through of Saxon Math level 3 and level 6-5 because I have a 3rd grader and a 5th grader that are going through those this year, and we are utilizing Nicole the math lady. I did a video yesterday talking about why we love it and all of that stuff, but I didn't really go through and just flip through the curriculum so you could see what it was like. So I thought I would come on here today and kind of just do a live update, and hopefully the video won't be as shaky. I did film that as well, but it was handheld, and I think it might be a little bit better if it's live. So if anybody gets on here, they can ask questions and I can answer right then. Or if not, it's more set up and more stable. So let's get going. I'm gonna turn the camera around and put y'all in the stand. So it might be shaky for just a second. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna try to do this as smoothly as possible while also not dropping my phone. All right, we're almost there. Oh, good golly. Close, we're close, we're close. Okay. And I have one kid napping and other kids out with their daddy, but they could return at any point. So this is definitely has the potential to kind of go a little rogue. Okay, let's get some light on so y'all can see, but not too much light, so there's a glare. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I think I'm gonna start with Saxon Math 3. I'll wait just a little bit longer for some people to come on, but we're gonna start with Saxon Math 3. Okay, I've got a step stool actually, so that way I can see above and make sure that everything is in frame. Hi, thanks so much for being here. Okay, this is Saxon Math 3, and like I said in that previous video, there is no differentiation between the classroom of Saxon Math and homeschool Saxon Math in level 3, and I believe under. I could be wrong. But this is just Saxon Math level 3. It's not meant for homeschool. Whereas everything above that is made, there's a classroom version and a homeschool version. So just going to throw that out there. So I did not buy the teacher's guide or anything to go with this because we were utilizing Nicole the math lady. And I said in my video that could be a downfall. It just depends. I haven't necessarily noticed that I needed it, and I didn't want to spend the money because teacher's guides can be so expensive. However, I have nothing telling me what exactly I need to do when. It is pretty straightforward, but let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. So there are 2 of these student workbooks, part 1, and then there is a part 2. And you just get their work out of this. It is perforated at the top. And so you can just tear them out. And it's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. There is, for every worksheet, there is a side A and a side B. That they do. And I said in that previous video how we handled that, so I'm not really going to go into a whole lot of that unless somebody comments and says that they want me to, and then I definitely don't mind. I just don't want to be redundant. But here's kind of what it looks like. We started off having him just write in this and not tear out the pages. but I quickly figured out that was not going to work. So these are all master copies. Like I said, it's meant for a classroom, so it's like a student assessment recording form for what they make on their test. So you can totally use this, but you're only going to use one line of it, not a whole page. But it's there if you need it, for sure. These are also perforated. An oral assessment recording form, stuff like that. Once again, no differentiation between classroom and homeschool necessarily. Letter to the parents and all that jazz. So, for example, I had him start doing his work. Let's find one in this, but it was quickly just becoming too hard to keep it nice and neat in there. Some pages were falling out, so now I just pull it out and I file it away. But there is a place for you to put it in a three-ring binder if you just wanted to go ahead and tear it all out. And so there is a lesson and a speed drill that goes with each lesson. Now, here is where the teacher's guide may have come in handy for me, is now that we are in on lesson, I guess we're on lesson 50 now. There are now multiple speed drills, and I'm like, how many of these are they supposed to do? I don't have the teacher's guide to tell me. I'm so sorry if this is shaky. I'm not touching it, so hopefully it's not. So that's my only concern, is that now each lesson there's like 2 or 3 speed drills that come in between each lesson. So there will be 2 or 3 speed drills. 1, 2, 3. There's a 4th, 5th. So I need to go and find it and then here's a master copy. I actually have lesson 50 already torn out. It's a test that he needs to do here in a little bit. Let me go ahead and go a little bit further. Okay. There's also master copies, so he'll need to use this in one of his lessons. And so I'll go ahead and tear that out for him and get it ready. But here's speed drill 1, speed drill 2. Okay, it usually comes with 2. Sometimes I have seen 3 though, you guys. And then here's lesson 51. So what I will do is for Monday, I will tear everything out. I think this is leaning up against the desk, so I think it's the desk. Yeah, that's moving. I'm so sorry. Don't want to make anyone sick. So I will tear these out and I will put them in Monday. And that is just how this entire Saxon Math 3 works. And I will put that in his folder ready to go. And I mean, it just looks like that the entire way through for both. Any master copies you need will be in here. So, kind of just a quick flip through. This obviously is a consumable thing, so you would have to buy this student workbook, both of them, every year, every time you had a 3rd grader. Whereas Saxon Math 6.5, and I think everything above Saxon Math 3, it can be non-consumable. You can write in the book, but you don't need to. And so I'll go ahead and show you guys that now, because this kind of is the same. So you just kind of do go in order. You just go on to the next lesson, which is why, again, I said I did not buy the teacher's manual. However, am I supposed to give them? Is one supposed to be homework in the classroom and one supposed to be what they would do in class? I don't know. So I could look it up. I could figure that out. I'm sure I could Google it, and maybe I should, but I'm not overly concerned. We do what we need to do, and we work on math facts separately. So this is just something just to have him practice it, but it's not necessarily the facts that we're working on for that week. So if that makes any sense. Okay, we're gonna move on now to Saxon Math 6.5, unless y'all have any questions or want me to show you something else. Let me go up here real quick and get on my little step stool because I'm short and look at the comments. I can't see any, so we're just gonna go with maybe that's it. Let me know though if you do. I'm trying to watch both while also making sure this isn't just incredibly shaky. Okay, I'm gonna go get 6.5. Every time I touch this desk, it makes the camera shake. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, Saxon Math 6.5. It's funny, I went ahead and did not use my other stuff because I felt like it might have been too shaky with me freehanding it, but this also is Shake City. Let me see if I can move it up. Let's see if that makes it more stable. Okay, Saxon Math 6.5. Like I said in the other video, it comes with your workbook, and this is meant, once again, for homeschoolers. There is a solutions manual. You want this one for sure. It gives you all the answers to every lesson, warm-up, test, FATS practice, everything. And then tests and worksheets. You really do need all of these. I picked these up at Mardell. You can get them off Amazon. You can get them off Christian Book. There's just tons of different places. Watch for sales. I have a binding machine, and so this is how we came up with him being able to give his answers and write his answers down. This is the solution we came up with, and I'll go through that. If you have a binding machine, one thing I do recommend is you can get a set of a bazillion, not really, but you get the idea, of these clear like plastic things, and those are worth their weight in gold. So I do recommend, if you're going to bind anything, this just really keeps it from getting really gross and protects it and makes it more like a real notebook. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Once again, let me know if I need to stop and show you guys anything. So this is made for homeschoolers. 6.5. So you don't have a teacher's manual. This is your teacher's manual, and it is thick. So sorry, you guys. It is super duper thick. Okay. So it is made instead of Saxon. With Saxon originally, I wish I would have brought my Saxon phonics that was used in a classroom. If you're using it in a classroom, what's neat about Saxon is it comes with a script. And so it will have what the teacher tells the students in bold and what the students should reply in just regular font. And that makes it easy as a classroom teacher. If you need to have a substitute or something, then it's no guesswork. You know what you're doing. You know how to teach it. But if it's homeschool, instead of it being a script, they teach the lessons, the new concepts here. So lesson 1, sequences and digits. There is a warm-up activity. So you're going to do your facts practice, which is, they start off with a test A, and that can be found, your facts test A, and the tests and worksheets. So you would just open this up, the test and worksheet section. There's a bunch of different things in here, but I'm just going to turn to what we need. So let me find it. Here we are. And it'll tell you on there. So it says A, 100 addition facts for use with lesson 1. This is lesson 1. You would run this off and hand it to your student. You don't have to, but if you want to be able to use it for multiple students, that's what you can do. It is perforated. You can pull it out and put it in a notebook. I just run them off straight from our printer copier. Okay, so there's that. Then they would have a mental math, count by tens from 10 to 100, count by 100s from 100 to 1,000, and then they would do these and answer this. Now, you answer them in a recording form. That is what this little guy is for. There, like I said in the previous video, there are 2 recording forms. If you don't want to write in this, if you want it to be a non-consumable, you're going to need to run off a bunch of copies of these. So this is recording form B. That is where they're going to do their warm-up, their facts practice, their mental math, and their problem solving, and their lesson practice. That's all going to make sense here in a minute. Then when they do their mixed practice, you're going to need to come and run off. Oh no, we ran out of one. Recording form C. So he just finished actually this notebook. I need to make him a new one this weekend. That is good to know. So that is how we handled that particular thing. So he would answer, so A, mental math A, goes here, mental math A, his answer would go right there, B, C, all the way through. And then problem solving, here's a problem solving question. Sometimes I have him do these, sometimes we just need to get on with the lesson and we just need to go and we skip it because it's just something it's more of a critical thinking problem, which is great, but we might be pressed for time in Saxon. Like I said, it can get lengthy. So you have that, and then you would do your new concepts. If you are not using Nicole, the math lady, then this is how you would teach your concepts or how the student would teach themselves. They would read here what the new concept is. And there's examples and everything. And then you would get to the lesson practice. This is where you will put into practice the new concept you just learned. And this is where you work out and record your answers. Okay, so once you have completed that, you're going to move on to mixed practice. I do make my son do every single lesson practice. This goes to L, not all of them do. A lot of the times, the further on you get, they have stopped at like H. So yeah, here's I. So this is obviously lesson 60 compared to lesson 1. It does start off kind of slow, which I appreciate because it gives them confidence. They're like, oh, I do know how to do this, you know, and you kind of work up to these harder concepts and you get there quickly, but they make sure that they are very established and rooted first to starting off. So I appreciate that. I do make him do all of his lesson practicing what he just learned. This is what Nicole, the math lady, teaches. So he will not really even read this part. He will just watch her teaching. He could if he wanted to, and if he has questions, and I cannot remember exactly how to do that, or I want to make sure I'm teaching it the way Saxon is teaching him how to do it, I will go back and I will read the lesson concept whenever I get to the mixed lesson. Let me get off of lesson 1 and show you what I am talking about. So everything has a lesson practice after your new concept. Then you get to a mixed practice. And here's your problem set. There are a lot of mixed practices, you guys. A lot. Let me see. And some of them have multiple questions inside of it. This one has 29. I do not make him do every single mixed practice problems. He would be sitting there forever because remember, he's already done a facts worksheet. He's already done mental math, possibly problem solving, and 8 questions of lesson practice before we even get to a spiral. So that, just keep that in mind. You do need the spiral. Okay, I'm reading, oh no, it's covering up. How do you choose which problem to do on the mixed practice? Alternating evens and odds. We did do that. I stopped because it's still a lot of problems, and we got to move on with our day. So what I do and what has worked this year is we go to our recording form C, and I'll show you. Where did we start doing this? Okay. I just look at the lesson he's on for the day really quickly, just glance at each problem, and I just circle which ones that I'm noticing that he either has me help him with quite often, or he keeps getting wrong and we're having to sit down and correct it. This keeps me honest as a homeschool teacher so that I make sure I grade this and look at his stuff. He can't just do his math and then shove it to the side, which sometimes is easy when you are in charge of 3 different grades, just to forget to look over something. So I will just go through. So let me see. This is lesson 27. We're on lesson 25. Let's go back and see which ones I chose. 26, 25. So I just go through, like I said, I circle the numbers I want him to do. So planted 9 rows of trees with 24 trees in each row. So I just go through and I'm like, okay, where does he need to work? And I circle it. If he gets to something and he needs help, he can look here in the parentheses. I hope y'all can see that. I'm going to pull it up. I'm sorry. It's going to be shaky though. So in the parentheses, it tells you what lesson they learned that concept in. So if I want to know exactly how Saxon wants him to find that answer, I can go back to lesson 24, look over the new concept, see, oh, they want him to do it this way, and then keep going. Once again, Nicole does cover it. They do the lesson practice, but you can forget, there's all kinds of things that can happen. It's math, guys. So he will write me like little notes. Okay, help again. Help me figure it out. And that's fine. That's how we kind of communicate with each other on this. So I don't have a set amount of problems that I'm wanting him to do for the mixed practice. I am just seeing, okay, where does he need help? For example, if there are ones like these, like 9n equals 54, he, for whatever reason, this concept gets him, and he forgets how to do it every single time. He forgets the steps. So anytime I see a question like that, and sometimes there's only one here, but sometimes there are multiple, I circle it. He has to do it until he can do that without any problem. He knows what to do. He remembers what to do, and then I'll stop circling them. So for example, there's 3 multiplication problems in a row. I'm probably only going to circle 14 because I want to make sure he puts the decimal in the right place. Because I know tomorrow's lesson, there's going to be a bunch of other multiplication problems in a row. It's not as if he's not going to get multiplication problem practice. Also, he's got facts practice where he's doing multiplication facts quickly. We practice them, we write them out like we're doing multiplication facts all the time. So I feel comfortable not having him do every single thing. Anything I see with a decimal point and with money, I'm probably going to circle to some degree, unless, of course, there are a lot of them, just because I want him to realize that he's got a decimal point that he has to put in the right place, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question? Okay, so here's that. One thing that is not in this book that I feel like it's probably important to note are the tests. So it is not like Saxon 3 where it's every 5 lessons is a test and you tear it out. It's right after lesson 50. You're going to have test 5. Okay, that's not necessarily true here, as in like it won't be the next thing in the book. You will have to come over here to the test and worksheets and run that off. They do have, which I do appreciate. I don't remember though if it's at the front or the back. I have to look every single time, which is frustrating to me every single time. They do have a schedule. So you go 10 lessons, here's test 1. 10 lessons, and then it's every 5 lessons. 5 lessons, test 2, 5 lessons, test 3. Okay? So it has a schedule, but also there is another schedule, and it might be back here where the tests are, that tell you when to give the test as well, I believe. Here's where you get your recording forms. So if you wanted to keep score on his addition facts and stuff, like I said, we're working on those other places than just here. So I really don't keep up with that, but you could. It's there for you if you wanted to. Here is where he would do his mixed practice work. And this is what I was talking about. I really do wish that there was a download because I don't necessarily want to tear out every single page of this book or even just one page and risk losing it. So I do just have to, run it off like this and then figure out how to make sure it's on both sides and not going up and down or crazy so I can make it into a notebook. I actually printed out those forms for his book last year from Office Depot. It was before I had my Epson printer. So that is an option. You can do that if you need to. This is their recording form B, where they're going to do all that stuff. That's all in here. And then the tests are also in here. That's where we were coming. And it says it has it sectioned off. Yeah, here are the tests. Okay. And it tells you at the top of every test what you need to give him or them, whoever it is taking it. So here it is, testing schedule. It tells you when it's got to be administered. So after test 5, test 5 comes after lesson 25, and it covers the material from lesson 1 or lesson 5 all the way through 25. And you give it after, whenever. So this is helpful. I do like this little sheet. So here is test 1, and it says also take facts practice test A. Also, once again, in this notebook, so you're going to run off, go find facts practice test A, run it off, okay? Here's test 2. Also give facts practice test B. You're going to go find that and run it off. So, and it does say, like, for use with lesson 26 or 28, for use with lesson 30, for use with test 5. So it does make it easy. Here's an activity sheet. So when you get to the investigations, which I really just found out today, I thought it was just like an enrichment or an extinction activity. I didn't realize that, like just an extra something. I didn't realize that it's actually, no, it's still a legit lesson. You need to go through and learn it, because they had him adding up these different fractions. And so I showed him how to do it mathematically. And I went back and looked in the lessons, and I was like, they're not actually teaching you how to find, they're not dividing it and then moving the decimal point over. They haven't taught you that yet. So how are they expecting you to get 37.5%? Well, it's because they actually use these. So 1/5 is 0.2, which is 20% of a circle. 1/8 is 0.125, which is 12.5. And they were combining a 1/4, which is 25%, and an 1/8, which is 12.5%. It went to 37.5%. That's how they got the answer. So I found that out today. Take that for what it's worth. Do the investigations, apparently, or maybe just talk about them, because it is its own lesson in and of itself. It's got its own amount of problems. Let's find one here. So that, it just wasn't my favorite. So today we just talked about it. We just talked about investigation 3. So fractions, thirds, fifths, and eighths. And then here are some questions you would use. And it does tell you that you need what you need to get in your, where is it now? I'm getting confused with all my books. In your test and worksheets book. Okay? So this can get, it's kind of a few moving parts. It's not that bad once you start doing it, but I feel like I'm like showing you guys, too much. Okay. Using fraction manipulatives, go to the activity sheet 16, 17, and 18 available in the test and worksheet. So you would come in here, test and worksheets, find the activity sheet for 16, 17, and 18. And using, I'm sure using the table of contents would make this a lot faster. So we would need those out, we would cut them out, we would do stuff with them. Cool, everybody understand? Okay. Lastly, the solutions manual, because I did talk about this, I'm trying not to make this so terribly long, is one thing I did not like about the solutions manual is that it is not a solution on every single, or it's not a lesson on every single page. So wherever one thing ends, the lesson, the answers to the next lesson is. So here's the answers to investigation 2. It starts here, randomly, goes all the way through here. Oh, and look, here's where I find the answers to lesson 21. I don't like that. That is not my favorite, because it does not make it easy. There's no, guide up at the top or anything. You're just kind of needing to know exactly where you are. You can put a bookmark and stuff, but that's something I was like, that could be a lot better. It doesn't have to be this way. And maybe they were just trying to keep it small, I guess. So lessons and investigations, there are those solutions. And then I believe test solutions are in a completely different spot. Let me see here. Yes, test solutions are at the very back. So it says tests up at the top. So test 18, the answers to test 18. Here's where test 19 answers are. I don't love that setup. I really, really don't. But it is what it is. Here's the solutions for facts practice sheets. So you really don't have to do anything. You don't have to really do the math as a parent. You just get to look at it. I am glad that this is a part of it and we have it, but I think it could be set up a lot better. So this is supplemental practice too, if they're having trouble with a particular thing, you can give them a supplemental worksheet and they have the answers. So good to have, could be set up better in my opinion. Okay, that really is how, ooh, I'm so sorry, it's still shaky, how this curriculum works out. Is it perfect? Definitely not. Like I said, can get so long. Math is it takes us the longest amount of time, which is frustrating to everyone, but it's just something that, it's part of life. It's got to be done, and sometimes things take time. But that is basically how each and every day will work. That is how we keep it non-consumable. Non-consumable for this is we have a notebook for that, and we go from there. Decently simple to understand, and it will probably make more sense once somebody had it in their hands, but that is how that kind of all works, and like a more in-depth look into all of these books. Let me know, you guys, really quickly. Can you explain how you use Nicole and Math Lady? Okay, I'm gonna turn my camera around, so this might be really shaky. Let me turn my camera around really quickly because I feel like this might be easier. We might be done with the books. Okay, and I did not clean this room beforehand, so we're gonna see if I can not the mess that's behind me. All right, okay, somebody just said, let's see. Can you explain how you do Math 3 with Nicole the Math Lady? Do you still have to gather all the daily materials, or does she just show them on the screen? If they need something besides the masters, so the master copies that go in with that lesson are right after the lesson page. So if they need a copy of something and it's a paper, they have it. You just tear it out, it goes with it. Today, was it today or yesterday, that she said, if you have tangrams, go ahead, pause the video and go get them now. We do. My son knows that we have tangrams, and so he said, hey mom, where are the tangrams? She told me to grab them. Or sometimes she'll say, grab some blocks, grab some money, grab some whatever. If I had the teacher's manual, I would know that. If I was probably also just super paying attention to the lessons, like really looking over them before I handed them to him, I also would probably be able to figure that out. But she does say, if you have this, pause the video, go get it. If not, she does have stuff on the screen that she is using to teach them how to do so. So it's pretty easy, kind of like in a classroom, if I'm honest. Does that answer your question? I'm gonna go through and make sure that there's not any other ones. Curious. Show them on the screen. Okay. New to Saxon. How do you choose which problem to? Okay, I have answered all of those. Okay, good. So that makes it easy. I do appreciate that about Math 3, and it kind of is like a fun little field trip for my little third grade guy. He gets excited when he gets to go and get stuff for his math. So I have a math bin in our schoolroom, in our little office area, that has manipulatives or weights or rulers or anything he could possibly need, our tangrams, stuff like that, is all within one section. So it's pretty easy to go and find and grab. So I guess that's about it. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. You can also ask me on Instagram. My handle is the same there as it is here, My Cathedral Garden. If I didn't make sense or something wasn't necessarily clear, I definitely want to be clear. What about like when she asked for 6-inch square? I find Math 3 to be so much prep for me. 5-4 is so easy for me as a mom. Do you know what lesson? I don't know. We may not have gotten to that one yet. Was that like the piece of paper? I think she might have told them, get a piece of paper, mark off 6 inches, and cut it out. So that's what we have done. She's pretty good about telling them. I'm kind of trusting her to do so. This is my first round through Math 3, and I do remember him having to make a square out of a sheet of paper, an 8 by 11 sheet of paper. So if that's the lesson you're talking about, then that's what she did, and that's how she handled it. So she, like I said, she's been really good. And sorry, I'm trying to hold my arm up. She has been really good about telling them when to go and grab whatever it is that they need to grab. If I had the teacher's manual, I would also have that more readily available too. I came to the live late. We're not on a field trip. Are you going to have this? Oh, yes, I'm totally going to set this as a video. I hope that the length doesn't scare people away. I'm going to try to go through after this and put timestamps on where I start 6:5, where I show if it's not too jumbled. Sometimes things feel really good filming and then you go back to edit them or try to explain and you're like, oh, that was not actually, it's not as smooth as I thought. Do you think Nicole the math lady is good for children that struggle or have gaps? I think Saxon is good for kids that struggle and have gaps. Possibly because they really try to make it. My arm is getting tired. Okay, let me see here. But I'm also trying not to show you our mess. Saxon really tries to make it to where you do not have any gaps. They practice you to death. You're gonna do facts practice until you're blue in the face. You're gonna spiral and work on things. And so they, like I said, they start out really simple in the beginning, incredibly simple to where you're like, I already know how to do this, like count. I know how to do this, or skip count. I know how to do this, Mom. But because of that, and they start working from there, they build that confidence. And so really, if there were any gaps, I would think that you would see that and fill them in before you got to something else. If not, then you as a mama can, okay, let's go back and let's work on that. And that's where maybe you can utilize like Pinterest or Teachers Pay Teachers. For example, we learned about long division, then we had Christmas break. And so my 11-year-old was struggling to remember the steps because there are about 4 steps that you have to do for each number in long division. And so just remembering when to bring down and stuff like that. So we got a Teachers Pay Teachers thing, and he did a fun sheet from that. But it's not because Saxon didn't teach him, or Nicole didn't teach him, or Saxon didn't go back through it over and over again. We just had a break. Okay, Nicole the math lady. Somebody asked, I know you tried a few other math curriculums like BJU and Horizons. What made you switch to Saxon? Nicole the math lady made me switch to Saxon. I wanted something that was video based. I like Horizons a lot, and I liked BJU. Horizons can get lengthy just like Saxon. What I did not like about Horizons was their teacher's manual. It would say these are the objectives that the students are to learn, but it did not tell you how to teach it. So it would say, okay, you're going to teach percentages from fractions, but it did not tell you how to teach that thing. So if you could not remember how to do that, kind of up a creek. And I didn't like it because it was still this thick. And I was like, if there's no instruction, I'm confused as to why it's so thick. Then BJU, I really liked BJU. And in fact, we looked into their video-based courses, but it was, and I could be wrong, don't quote me, but I believe it was going to be around $300, and you only get access for 1 year. So it's not like I could swallow that each year, knowing that my 3rd grader would eventually get to 5th grade and could use those video lessons again. It was $300, and you were just eating it every single year, and times 2 or times 3 or times 4 times however many kids I would have at one time using BJU distance learning. Now, I'm not one that is always looking for the free anything. I think homeschooling, there is value in investing in our kids' education. So the price isn't necessarily going to be something that completely scares me away from a curriculum if I think it will work. But that, I was like, let's look and see if we can find anything else. And Nicole's was affordable because Saxon, that whole set, the 6-5 set, I believe was around $100. So it's not the cheapest. That's for sure. But Nicole's website and her teaching was affordable, and that's why we switched to Saxon. I've also taught Saxon. I taught it in the public school system, and I liked it when I taught it. I just liked it. So BJU, what BJU does, I feel like really well, is it threads the needle with very well of rigor and like having things, teaching it well without it being so hard. But they're still learning. It's I feel like it's advanced or right on par. I'm not making sense. Let me gather my thoughts. BJU, I feel like, was right on par with what they're supposed to learn, without being hard or pushing them faster than was developmentally appropriate. And also, it did not have so many problems that they got so bogged down, which I feel like is a downfall of Saxon. So it thread that needle very, very, very well. I did like BJU Math. And that is what I have used Horizons Math until Saxon 3. This is our first year using Saxon 3 because we did Horizons. And then for my first grader this year, we're using BJU Math because I just like it. And so Saxon is lengthy. It's even lengthy as with a second grade and under curriculum. It really, really is. So, oh look, our kids are coming back, pulling up. So yes, let me make sure I did not miss any other questions. So BJU, very helpful. Do you think Nicole, the math lady, is good for? Yes, I think Nicole is great. You could sit there and watch her videos, and it would be awesome. So let me know if you have any other questions, and definitely come ask me on Instagram. I would love to tell you over there. If I've missed anything, ask it in the comments below. I'm sorry this video was so shaky. I did not anticipate that and find it comical that was the reason I decided to do a live instead of what I had already pre-filmed because I thought it would be shaky. So thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in, and I will talk to y'all soon. All right, see you later. Maybe if I can figure out how to end this thing. I don't really know. Oh, next. Hold on. Oh, Math UC. Somebody just asked what my take on Math UC is. Really quickly, I've never used it. And as a former teacher, I kind of shunned it at the beginning because I didn't like mastery. I didn't understand mastery. And it's taken me becoming a homeschool teacher to see the value in it because but I also think you have to have both and. There is value in mastering certain things and not necessarily knowing the why. I'm going to link an article down below here called Why Johnny Can't Add, and it talks about learning math facts. So that is something I'm doing differently with my first grader than I have done with my third and my fifth grader. Hey, hold on guys, is that I'm having her do part of Right Start Math where she is writing out her addition facts so she can just know that it's 4 plus 3 equals 7 right off the bat. She doesn't have to add it in her head yet. So that's, I don't know, had I had that view of math beforehand.
Okay, I was turning away.
Hey babies, can you wait for just a second?
Sorry.
Just give me 1 second. Had I had that view of math beforehand, maybe we would have gone with that, but I didn't. And now we're in third grade, first grade. I don't own any Math UC. So we're just going with Saxon, but I'm just doing things slightly differently with introducing that mastery concept. I had trouble with math as a kid. I'd never learned my addition facts well, not for lack of trying or lack of effort on behalf of my mom. They did not click. So I do see the benefit of starting early and learning early. Don't know, maybe that was a big jumbled mess, but that's what I think. All right, I'm gonna get off. Definitely would love to finish this conversation over on Instagram or even here in the comments. I'm gonna go so my kids can eat and slurp their drinks in peace.